Hello, this is going to start step 5. What we're going to do is just the female side of our binomial distribution for completeness. So we'll start off with our at-most equation. So this is going to equal bino distribution. And then our number of successes this is the at-most link. So we'll pick our at-most, our total, and then our probability is now going to be 1 minus the probability of guys. If you're not male, you're female. So we'll just click the female probability. And then finally we want a cumulative distribution. So at most being 5. At least, I'm just going to put a little more reasonable number in here. At least similar, we're going to do our 1 minus, and now the bino. And the numbers is our number of successes at least, and then we subtract 1 from it. Number of trials stays the same, and our probability is 1 minus our descriptive statistics tab for the proportion of men. And again, we want a cumulative distribution. And lastly is our exactly, so now it's bino distribution, and number of successes, I click on exactly, number of trials on trials, and then 1 minus our descriptive statistics, and then finally 0. Now one thing you might think about doing is copying the descriptive statistics parameter to your binomial sheet. It's not necessarily a bad idea, but it's not necessarily a good one. If you get a new sample or your sample updates, you'll rerun the descriptive statistics tab. All these things will be in the same place, so all the other spreadsheets will update automatically, and you'll get all your numbers ready to go. So a lot of times you want to cross-reference sheets rather than put everything on one individual sheet. All right, next tab, just like we did here, we want our if, and our C9, got to say equals. If our number of successes is less than or equal to our number of trials, F4 to lock it in. Now we're going to use our binomial distribution, and the number of successes is the number of females, and then the number of trials is listed, and we'll hit F4 to lock that in. Our probability is 1 minus our descriptive statistic value. We'll hit F4 to lock that in, comma 0. Actually, we'll want an extra comma here, and that way when we drag it down past 10, we'll just get a 0 value. And then our conditional variables, again, equals if, and number is less than or equal to our number of trials. And then we want the number of females multiplied by, when we go to our conditional mean, our average female price, and hit F4 to lock that in. And then we're going to add to that the quantity of the number of trials, F4 to lock that in, minus the number of females. So that gives us the number of males, and we multiply that by our conditional mean for male, and F4 to lock that in, and then we're going to divide that by the number of trials that we're interested in, lock that in with an F4, comma, and comma in a parenthesis. And then we'll change that to a $sign. So this value, meaning it's all male, should equal this value as we go through. And then here, this is equal to our probability times the expected value in the underlying position. So since this is very low probability, it has very low contribution to the overall mean of 3,289.46. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and finish dragging these guys down. Must have not $sign something I should have $signed. All right, and that's the answer. I thought I did that. B4 needs to be on $signs. So sometimes it's helpful for me to make mistakes so you can see how they show up. There we go. And then we'll just drag these guys down the balance of the numbers. We can use fills or other things, but just to make it direct. All right, finally we're going to do the same kind of thing that we did here, although we're going to do it on this group of tabs. In fact, I could probably, now let's just type it in again. So the first thing we want sum, F9, indirect concatenate. Instead of F, we want J, and then B1 plus 9, and we're going to divide that by our at most, which I can't see what it is right now, but all right, so I'm going to do a return there. So this is equal to the sum, and then it's our, we want something that's going to point to this guy. So it's the, I've forgotten what it is. All right, I'll just pick it. So equals sum, and we'll pick our value that we're interested in, which is J9, and then indirect. And here we want a J, double quotes, comma, oh, we got to concatenate. Now we do J, comma, and then we're interested in the B1, because this is at most, and then we're going to add to that 9, 1, 2, 3, and then we divide by the probability. Let's just make that a $sign. So all that's doing is summing from here down. So we're always starting here and we're going at 5 on top of it, okay? Or whatever at most we're interested in. So the next one is at least. So at least we want to start somewhere down here and then sum to the end, basically to the number of trials that we're interested in. So here we're going to be equal to and again a sum, now an indirect, and I concatenate, and we're interested in J, and then we're going to concatenate that with our B2. We're going to add to it just 9. And now we're going to divide by our probability. Yeah. That's, what have I, oh, I need my other sum, sorry. So that ends the indirect concatenate. We want a colon here, and now we do another indirect. And then our concatenate, and now it's J, and then our number of trials, and we add 9. And that should be the correct valuation. Looks a little bit better. Make it $signs. Comes out to a whole number. That's, I will say, anytime something comes out to a whole number, you want to be a little bit cautious on it. But we can see we should be going from J for J13. which is number 4. That makes sense. All the way to J9. And in fact, what you can do is just to check it over here, let's go ahead and sum, and we want to go from 4 to the end. And then we'll need to also divide by the probability. So we come up with the same number. So our indirect seems to be working fine. And then our last variable we're going to be interested in is the exact, which is just an indirect statement. So this is just equal to indirect. And then our concatenate. And now we're interested in the I column, quote I quote column, because we're restricting everything to an exact value. And then we want our B3, which is exact, and then we're going to add 9 to it. And then balance out our parentheses, and we're good to go. So this is 5, we come down here to 5. We should see the exact same number. And go ahead and make a $sign. So at this point, the Bino Step tab is done. So I can do all kinds of stuff just to check. First thing, let's go to 15 trials. So we've updated down here to 15. All of our values have appropriately updated. We can go to at most 10. And it kind of makes sense that only the at most tab changes. And it should end up being more expensive because at most we have more than 10 males. And at most we have 10 females. So the more females are in there because they're lower, the cheaper the expected value is going to be. And we can do an at least, so we can say on males at least 10. So now we've gotten even more expensive. So this is at most 10, this is 10 or more, a little bit more expensive. So that seems to be working fine. And then here we're at $32.91 versus $32.59. So at most 10 women versus at least 10 women, you'd expect it to go down. And then just test our exactly tab. Let's just say 7. And then we'll just check on 7, 3, 2, that's right, and 7. All right, so now we got a dynamic Excel spreadsheet tab that anybody can come to after the fact and kind of understand what's going on. It checks for males, it checks for females, and then the total cost, right, is actually just whatever the average is times the number of trials that you're interested in. So if it's 15 trials, the total cost would be 15 times the average. So that's the Bino Step tab. Now the impaired tab is the exact same process. And the good student tab is again the exact same process. So I'm going to let you guys try and do it on your own. Just rewatch step 4 and step 5, or step 3 and step 4. Step 3 and step 4, and go through the exact same process and just make sure you're picking the appropriate probability or proportion. All right. So I'll let you guys go with that, and then when we come back, we'll do one of the age ones, and then you can do the second. I'll do a little bit of the second one, but you'll be responsible for most of it, and then we'll go on to our conditional probabilities, which are pretty straightforward, but introduce some more concepts in terms of Excel command structure. All right, thank you very much, and I hope you're enjoying the project, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.